Hello and welcome to Tarot with Tanya. This is 7 cards for 7 days. And we are beginning, let me grab my notes here. We are beginning with July 24th and going to the 30th. So Monday the 24th to Sunday the 30th. And we start with the moon in Libra this week and we end with the moon in Capricorn. So a relationship kind of energy and theme to begin, and then a very earthy, take care of business, call in your loans kind of energy. When we hit that Capricorn moon, it's much more concerned with authority and control and established sorts of things. And again, back to the Libra with diplomacy and relationships of all kind. Harmonizing, aesthetics, beauty, things like that. We also now have the sun moved into Leo, so that's a very different energy. We went from the really moon dominated home mother kind of energy of Cancer, the protective shell, into the Leo fiery, big burning heart kind of energy, very creative as well. We still have a number of retrogrades. The same ones are going on with Saturn and Pluto. Now we add Venus retrograde in Leo. So that's also, you take the planet of love, Venus, and put it into this, heart area ruled by the sun. It's going to be a lot of relationship stuff, especially again with moon in Libra at the beginning of the week. And then we've also just had that node shift. So now, because they go backwards, it will be in the very late degrees of Libra, working its way back toward the 1 degree point of Libra. But that's about 18 months. Right now, we're just in like that 29 degree or so area. So a lot of relationship emphasis, and Mars in Virgo. And, Mars in Virgo, Mars likes fire because it's a fire planet. It likes fire signs. So when it gets into something earthy like Virgo, it's going to be more subdued. Put maybe more energy into health issues, work issues, things like that. And we also now have Chiron retrograde in Aries. And, Chiron is the wounded healer. He was the one who taught all kinds of both medicinal and warlike arts to the Greek heroes. For us, he is a healer and shows up in charts and places where we do need healing, where we have a wound that goes on. And when he's in Aries, there's that emphasis on the self, perhaps healing a wound in the self-image. And then if you have planets in Aries, or it might be your ascendant or whatever, you could run into other things there. So there are lots of ways to get a free chart out there if that's something that interests you. You can just Google it, look for something that has a good reputation, and you need your time of birth. Sometimes that's tricky to get, but the time, and of course the day, the year, and the place. And if you can plug that in, you can get a chart and reach out to me if you need some help reading that. So let's talk about the 7 cards then. Last week felt pretty intense to me, and I know part of that was astrological. So hopefully this week is a little bit more mellow, but we do start off with a major. We have 3 majors this week, and our first one is the Emperor, and I am using the Thoth deck. This is the Aleister Crowley deck. And this Emperor is very regal, and again, there's that fiery element, right? And it is an Aries card, so it is ruled by fire. Making decisions, perhaps wanting to be in charge. It can be great organization, working with institutions, powers that be, and getting things done. On the dark side, it can be a little controlling, a little bit perhaps too materialistic. So use that energy in the way that works for you on Monday. And it's a number 4 too, so there are some there are pairs this week. We have 2 4s and 2 2s. Our next card is a cup, and it's the only cup for the week, and it's the 10. And Sadie is the subtitle of this one, and it is that feeling, and you know, the cards, of course, the image tries to echo or symbolize what it is that the card is representing. And so you have all this emotional abundance. So it can feel like you're saturated, like it's too much, or it can be a lot of really good feeling too. But that could be a day. And we'll be transitioning then from Libra to Scorpio. And Scorpio, of course, is all about the water and the intense emotions. So that could be a good card for that too. On Wednesday, we move to another one of the majors, the High Priestess. She raises her arms to echo the horn or the crescent moon she wears in her head. And that's an old goddess symbol. Like a power move in a way to draw down the moon. And what does that mean? Well, in the case of the High Priestess, she is bringing esoteric knowledge down for humans. She tries to put it in a form. If you look closely, there's a book on her lap or a sort of scroll, and she wants to take that information that's sort of floating in the ethers, that's in the subconscious, and make it more aware, make us more aware of it, make it more tangible, have a way to access it. So it's a very deep, intuitive energy. The dark side of it can be that deceit is exposed, that things come out, that there are secrets that are going around. But I like the positive side and using that deep intuition and listening to your own intuition. On Thursday, we have the 3 of Swords. So now we're into a very different kind of energy. Most people see this card and cringe, and I mean, look at it, right? The colors are very dark. You've got the 3 sharp swords. They're going into a flower-like structure. It's not quite clear what that is. Sometimes you'll see them frequently, actually. It'll be a heart, and the 3 swords will be piercing that heart, so that there's a way, it's also subtitled sorrow, a way that there is an unhappiness, but it also starts in the mind because it's a sword. It's a mental energy. So it could be a thought of being like, I might potentially be hurt. If I take a risk in this situation, will my heart be wounded? You know, it can have that kind of energy, or it could relate to 3 people, you know, in a situation where there's conflict, something like that. But I think the positive to take away from that is that it is mental, that we do have the ability to work with our own thoughts. We can do meta thinking. We can think about our thinking. We can stand back and witness our own consciousness and try, you know, to adjust those energies. So just know that on Thursday, that kind of energy could be out there. And if you encounter it, see how you might be able to create another thought that's better. By Friday, we get to celebration the 4 of Wands. So that's that second 4 for us. And this one is called completion. And not too surprising that there is a circle and the wands are there, the fire element. And it often is depicted, this card, the energies of it, as a little structure with maybe a banner across the top, or you know, a little gateway, and then people getting ready to celebrate in the background. So here, with it all coming into the circle and that label, that subtitle of completion, it really does feel like that to me, that there's a way that something has been completed. And because it's wands, it could be an energetic sort of thing. It's like, all right, I'm kind of finished with that now. I'm going to put it over here and move on to something else. So again, that's our Friday. And of course, that card as a 4 is connected to the Emperor. So if there's an energy on Monday where you start something, maybe by the time Friday rolls around, there's some sense of completion with that. We stick with the fire for our Saturday. And this time, the King of Wands. King of Wands, when it comes to romance, can be the kind of person who's looking for someone who's very spectacular, expressive, and fiery, and also maybe takes some orders from the king. So this deck uses knights instead of kings, and uses princes instead of knights and so forth. But this is the king, essentially the king. The peak of this energy. So it's that great instinct. It's that I know what to do, when to do it. I don't think about it. I just do it. When it is the peak, the knight or the king, there is a way that there's a lot of practice behind that. So, you know, it's not like you jump into a burning building or something, but you might be ready to take some sort of leap or ready to follow your instinct on something. And again, the dark side can be a little running roughshod over people, or, you know, over yourself as well. And our last card, our 7th card for this week, is Lust. And Crowley changed things from what a lot of decks do, and he took, it's a version of the Strength card, and he took that from being the number 8 card and put it to 11, and then he took the card that often is in that number slot and put it back to where the 8 is, and for him that's all about the balance. But this one, it's lust for life. It's your luster. It's getting some kind, I'm trying to bring it in close enough. You see this naked woman holding up this incredible sort of fiery, it's not quite a torch, but an energy like that into the horizon. And the beast she is riding is many-headed. And the symbolism is that we all have aspects of ourselves that are a little beastly, a little gnarly, no matter how genteel we are, mature. There's still parts that need to be worked with, that can be difficult at times. That's just part of being a human being. So in this card, there's some kind of a deal made with those parts of the self. It's like integrating the shadow. And when we can acknowledge parts of ourselves that we don't consider to be okay, we get stronger. So integrating the shadow. So again, that leaves us with 3 majors for the week. So there's some creativity and harmony and flow with that. That's the number of the artist and the Empress. We also have that 3 card where things get a little dicey on Thursday, and you want to, you know, be kind to yourself with that kind of energy that might bring in some painful thoughts or doubt, things like that. And then, you know, I forgot to mention too with that Lust card that it's an 11, so that makes this a 2. So it's paired with the High Priestess. So there's also a great deal of energy and opportunity this week to go in and, you know, see what's happening in there, because the world is pretty intense right now, right? Hottest week on record, all kinds of disasters happening in many places, and I pray for, you know, everybody, and I hope everyone who sees this and, you know, all the people you know and love are doing okay. We have got, you know, to get through this, but Hopefully, readings like this give you a little bit of buoyancy, a little bit of a sense of I'm in community. There are other people who are sharing struggles that might be happening, and maybe triumphs that are happening for you as well. So I've also pulled an I Ching card for us today for our oracle card, and we got number 47. I don't know if the visual will mean a lot to you, but I'll put it up there. They're a very pretty card, another gift from a friend. And this is what it says. Oh, let's see, I'm sorry, I was on the wrong page here. So let me get to that right one. Distress. And as I was saying, you know, so much happening in the world right now that's pretty intense and can be a little hard on our nervous systems. The soaring powers of the former sign have come to rest. The result is a time of distress. There remains nothing else for you to do than surrender to the development. Try to remain calm and optimistic. With positive thoughts, you create the preconditions for later success. Admit to fear and uncertainty, for you are at the mercy of outside forces. Stick to your guns, even if it is a little difficult now. Remember, the chance for inner growth occurs in every situation in life. Take life as it comes and focus on that innermost characteristic which is above to fate. Sorry, but I don't quite understand that last sentence. All right. Anyway, the upshot of that is, if there is distress you're experiencing, and I have to say my mind, my instinct went right to this card, you know, on our Thursday. If something like that does come up, best thing we can do is to try to stay positive, to try to find that silver lining in the dark cloud, and to say things to ourselves like, this too shall pass. Hopefully it's not like super personal distress. It's, you know, more of what we have in the collective, and, you know, hopefully we can put our energy, our abilities, our goodwill into making it better for everybody. As always, take what resonates for you, leave the rest behind. And thank you so much for being here. I super appreciate it. I really, really do. And I encourage you, if you are needing some help, actually even some encouragement and so forth, to reach out for a personal reading. My information will be below in the description box and at the end of this video. So beloveds, have the best week that you can. Be kind to yourself and others.